Welcome to Analytics in 15. Today we're going to learn how to simplify BI identity and access management. My name is Camille Taylor. I'm a Senior Technical Product Manager for QuickSight at Amazon Web Services. For today's agenda, we're going to learn how to centralize identity management with AWS IAM Identity Center. Then we'll do a quick review of QuickSight and IAM Identity Services, and then deep dive a reference architecture for BI identity management. We'll wrap it up with 3 walkthroughs. First, we're going to seamlessly sign in to Amazon QuickSight. Then we're going to subscribe to Amazon QuickSight with IAM Identity Center. And then we'll connect an external identity provider with IAM Identity Center. IAM Identity Center is the way to centralize identity management on AWS. It allows you to streamline your identity configuration, reusing that configuration across your organization. IAM Identity Center can be used with your existing identity provider, which gives your users seamless single sign-on access to AWS accounts and applications. You can also use IAM Identity Center as a standalone identity store if you do not have an external identity provider. Amazon QuickSight is a service that provides unified BI for all your analytics needs. It provides consistent high performance with auto scale and lower costs with consumption-based pricing. Here is a reference architecture of BI identity management with IAM Identity Center, and we're going to walk through how this works in practice today. So the overall configuration is that we have AWS organizations enabled with AWS IAM Identity Center that is configured with an external identity provider. We have various applications and AWS accounts configured with that IAM Identity Center instance. And this allows you to enable applications more quickly for your end users because you can reuse that identity configuration. When a user wants to sign into QuickSight, QuickSight works seamlessly with IAM Identity Center that is configured with your external identity provider to return an authenticated user to QuickSight. Now we're going to go through those walkthroughs to see how that works in practice. So to start, we're going to sign into QuickSight with IAM Identity Center. So to sign into QuickSight with IAM Identity Center with Okta, I can go to my Okta end user dashboard and I'll see AWS IAM Identity Center. Once I click on that, I'm signed in with Okta and I land on the AWS sign-in portal where I have access to all my AWS accounts and applications. Here I have a QuickSight account that I can access. And Identity Center and Okta take care of signing me into QuickSight. Because I'm using IAM Identity Center, when I want to share assets in QuickSight, I am able to use the groups from my Okta identity provider. So if I want to share this analysis with the sales team, I can look up that group from Okta and share the asset with the sales team. And that's how you sign in to QuickSight with IAM Identity Center. You can also sign in directly through the QuickSight URL. So if I sign out here, users can also sign in from the QuickSight sign-in page using the QuickSight account name that is stored in the browser cookies after the first sign in to QuickSight, and click on Next. And I'm signed in to QuickSight with Okta. And now we're going to subscribe to QuickSight with IAM Identity Center. To sign up for QuickSight, I'm going to go to the AWS console and search for QuickSight. I'm going to click on Sign up for QuickSight. And I'm going to select my subscription type. Here I'm going to select Enterprise and Q and click on Continue. I enter my contact information, click on Continue, and I'm going to select this paginated report add-on. And now I need to choose my authentication method. I'm going to select Use AWS IAM Identity Center and select my QuickSight region, which will be US East to match my Identity Center region. Then going to provide a QuickSight account name and click on Configure. Now I need to select the groups from Okta that I want to use to map to roles in QuickSight. So for my admins, I created groups to add admin users. Same for my authors and readers. And then I can provide a notification email address and click on Finish. And that's it. That is how you subscribe to QuickSight with IAM Identity Center. My account's ready to use, and my groups are ready to use to share assets with users. We're now going to configure IAM Identity Center with an identity provider. For this last walkthrough, we're going to show you how to configure IAM Identity Center with Okta if you don't already have IAM Identity Center enabled. So to enable Identity Center, you first need to go to the AWS console and go to IAM Identity Center and click on Enable. While this is enabling, we're going to go to Okta. So in Okta, we're going to create a new application. We're going to browse the app catalog and search for IAM Identity Center and add the integration. Click on Done. Okay, so we're going to start in the Sign On tab in Okta. We're going to scroll down to the sample signing certificates. Go to the actions here, view the IDP metadata, right click, save as, and save this metadata file as an XML file. We're going to go back to IAM Identity Center. So step one is to choose our identity source. We're going to configure Identity Center with Okta. So we're going to click here and scroll down to the identity source, go to Actions, and change the identity source. We're going to select an external identity provider and click Next. In Identity Center, we're going to download the metadata file that we'll need to use in Okta. We're going to go back to Okta. And again, under the Sign On tab, we're going to edit the settings here. We need to enter this ACS URL and the SSO issuer URL. So going back to Identity Center, here we have this ACS URL that we're going to copy into Okta, and the issuer URL that we're going to copy into Okta here. And click Save. Back in Identity Center, we're going to choose the Okta metadata file that we just saved. And click Next. And confirmed. Change our identity source. Okay, so we've now configured Okta in IAM Identity Center. There's a couple more things we need to do. We need to enable automatic provisioning here. So we're going to click on Enable. And we're going to need to put this SCIM endpoint in Okta. So we're going to copy that and go back to Okta. We're going to move over to the Provisioning tab, scroll down, and click on Configure API Integration and check Enable API Integration. The base URL is that SCIM endpoint that we just copied. Make sure to remove the last backslash. And then the API token here is this access token that we need to copy into Okta. We're going to test these API credentials. Looking good, and click Save. Next, under provisioning, we need to edit these settings. So we're going to edit and enable create users, update user attributes, and deactivate users, and click save. Okay, and we're now ready to move on to our assignments. So here we're going to assign groups from Okta to IAM Identity Center. So we're going to click on assign and assign to groups. So here I have different groups that we created to manage our users in QuickSight, the QuickSight admin group. So I'm going to assign that, save and go back, authors, and readers. I also want all my finance users to be able to use AWS applications. So I'm going to assign them as well as my sales team. I'm now going to push my groups to IAM Identity Center. So I'm going to click on push groups, find groups by name, and search for those groups. So admin, author, reader, sales team, and my finance team. Okay, and some of these are still pushing and they are now all active. So if I go back to IAM Identity Center now, I can close this and I can now see that my groups and users are syncing with IAM Identity Center and any application that is configured with IAM Identity Center. And that's how you configure Identity Center with Okta. Today, we learned how you can simplify BI identity and access management. Thank you.